I thought to myself, how can I transform this idea? Well, as we came out, right next to Mr. Ying's was Russell and Chapel. Russell and Chapel was the canvas shop that all the artists went to in Covent Garden. And there in the dustbin was a bunch of blue vinyl and canvas and all that. So David and I grabbed up all this cuttings, which is, by the way, the usual way that we got materials was from the street, not other people's leftovers. And I began to experiment with this idea of cutting, right? And the more I worked on this idea, the more I realized that it gave a solution to making very large-scale works. Now, I didn't yet have the reason to make a large-scale work, but it actually gave the purpose for making one, all right?
You've written an amazing description of how it was produced. It's quite a long description, so I wonder whether you could summarize it. But it's beautiful. If anyone wants to read it, I'm sure we can circulate it.
Well, let's say that let's begin in honor of our Latin American artist friends here. The actual image, the narrative image, I got from an evening with Cecilia Vicuña. She invited me over to meet with her Chilean friends. They had some Chilean wine. They made some empanadas. They had the candles burning. Well, I don't know why there was never any lights. There's always going to be candles with Chileans, you know. But we all sat in a circle, and and we had empanadas. And then Cecilia began to tell me the story of Chile, what had happened in Chile, and she told it in a kind of almost Nerudian narrative, almost the way Pablo Neruda would tell the story in a kind of the kind of epic that what it was, about the 10 million population of Chile, about the mines and the fishermen, and about the peasants, and about what had gone on there, and the industries, and the Women's March, and the new Chilean song, and Victor Jara, and the whole thing. And meanwhile, I said, well, can you give me a piece of paper? And she gave me this big piece of paper. And as she told the story, I did this drawing of these different characters and figures. The exact design is the design that's over on the little banner in Jane's stall at D19. It's the exact image. And in fact, it's I always say to people, on any work of art of mine that you see, there's a direct correlation between the drawing and the artwork. For me, every artwork comes from a drawing. Well, that little banner got a grant from the Chile Solidarity campaign of £60. My wonderful friend and mentor, Peter Townsend, editor of Studio International, gave me a space to lay the banner out. And if you go see the big banner, you'll see that we needed a big space to lay it out, and we had this space given to us for one night by Peter Townsend of Studio International. We laid out the banner. David himself did the little butterfly at the center. If you see the artwork with the little butterfly at the center, that's what David did that for us at the very center of the artwork. And it was taken and it was cut up. It was a very brave act to lay out this banner, and to lay out this huge artwork, and then take a pair of scissors, having never done this before, and then cut up my own artwork into strips, not knowing how it was going to turn out. And we took all the strips over to Guy Brett's place on Southampton Row, and in the back room there, we sewed them up over 3 nights. We sewed this up 3 nights a day, and we got it done just in time to put it in a backpack and take it down to Trafalgar Square when 30,000 people arrived in Trafalgar Square in support of democracy in Chile. Now, the technical invention that is behind the soft rig is this, is that there is a limit as to how big something can be made. There is a limit as to how big it can, what kind of machine it can be made on, all right? There is a limit as to what the size can be from the physics of it. And so what the stripping method did, because my strips are one foot wide, the Chile banner is 9 inches wide, but the stripping allows me to put it under a conventional sewing machine, so it can be a machine manufactured artwork. Number 2, making it in strips allows it to be an anti-sale. If we take a big sheet, we take a big sheet of fabric and we put it up, we make a sail. Now, I don't know if you know the physics of this, but a sailboat is not blown forward. A sailboat, the wind does not blow a sailboat forward. It's the vacuum in front of the sailboat that pulls it forward. All right? So what happens is that when you put a sail up, it fills with wind, and it takes this shape. This shape is called the aerodynamic shape, and that aerodynamic shape creates a vacuum on one side and a high pressure on the other side, and it's that pressure difference that pulls the boat forward. That 4-ton boat is the same equivalent of a banner pulling the coping stones off the front of your building. So the strips allow for this, for the positive and negative oscillation of the artwork. It allows it to become an anti-sail. And the last thing, of course, is that the folding up. We can fold up this banner into a small package, and we can take it down to Trafalgar Square. We can put it up. We can transport it easily, and such as that.
So just to go back to the kind of iconography, We've got a few more minutes.
Yes, of course.
So you mentioned that Cecilia was talking to you about the 10 million in Chile. So you have one figure for each of the million.
Yes, one figure for each of the million.
On the banner.
On the banner. We have the two ranges of mountains, right?
Yeah.
We have the Chilean flowers. We have the copper miners with bits of copper falling down. We have the fishermen who, of course, are part of the fishing industries. The peasants doing there's a chicken there with some eggs. I think there's some eggs in a basket and all that. So it's it's very homey. It was a great transformation for me to make this piece. The only example I had to work from was Guernica. All right, of another time and another fascism, all right? And yet I knew that we had to do something positive, all right? There was something very frightening and tragic about Guernica, and not to diminish the tragedy, but we needed to have hope as well. So in making this piece, I tried to make it a bit like and I must say, people said, it doesn't look like an English banner. Well, it's not. My art is very much the school of Paris, and it's more like a Matisse. But the central figure up there is the figure of the artist, like Victor Jara, with a guitar in one hand and a gun in the other hand. And it's like the crucified artist. It's like the martyr and the centurion, all right? It's like Victor Jara, it's like the spirit, but it's also the new artist arm. So it's like a leaping forth, but at the same time, it's based upon like a secular altarpiece. So it had that sort of sense, as Chile being a nominally Catholic country, the language is understood, the sense of a national passion, a working through of a redemption, through the darkness would be a redemption, the darkness of the banner, the foundry, the light above the woman over the machine tool. This all shows a darkness, a subterranean darkness that the Chileans were themselves working themselves out of. And such as that, right? So there was a lot of that. Interestingly, I lost a lot of friends after making this banner. I lost a lot of artist friends. And the reason is that this was 1974. This was Carl Andre's bricks. This is the gray minimalism. This is conceptual. This is what it wasn't. It was not fabric. It was not colorful, and it was not figurative. And I had done the three cardinal sins of a modernist in 1974. And I was said by artists, "Well, you're obviously not an artist. You are a craftsman." All right, And I said, "Well, I have always admired great craft, but that apparently didn't persuade people." In fact, Lydia said a word through Guy that she didn't approve of it. All right. "Oh, John, I don't approve of this. I don't approve of this work at all." Well, actually, in 6 months' time, she actually changed her tune, and she said, "No, actually, I'm very proud of you for having made it and all that, John, and all that, But it showed how close we were. That Lydia felt, I don't want you to destroy your career, John, in doing this and all that. But I must say, in making the Chile banner, when I made that Chile banner, when we actually had that great rally, as we stood there in front of this huge artwork, it was like standing on top of a mountain. When you realize that there is a whole new land that you're going to visit. And in making these banners for the next 35 years, I actually ran Banner Art Studio, and we made banners for everyone from Joe Strummer and the Clash, the Black Panthers, the Queen of England, up to, in America, the Oracle Corporation. I've worked closely with Francis Ford Coppola and all that. So it's actually made it into a magic carpet. I always say that the banners have been a magic carpet for me. And the most important thing is that they've allowed me to deal with real people, real organizations, in real life, and not just be part of a specialized art world. It's given me a way of embracing the larger world that's been really important for my art.
Thank you. I do want to leave time for just a couple of questions before winding up, but just to leap forward, you just summarised your banner career in 2 seconds. But we'll leap forward. I mean, you said that you feel like you've maybe been slightly overlooked over the years, but you have enjoyed recent success in a number of exhibitions. I just wanted to mention those. One in 2009, Textiles and Social Fabric, at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Antwerp, where the banner was the model of the banner, or the banner itself. The actual banner itself was installed. So, and then 2010, This Could Happen to You, Icon Gallery in the 70s. And then also an exhibition at England & Co. 2010, Agonic Messenger.
Retrospective,
Retrospective. So I just wanted to add that as a correction.
I'd like to. it's not that my work has been overlooked. The fact is that nobody wanted to claim it. My closeness to the Latin American artists, I paid a price for that, by the way. You know, the American arts establishment has said, well, you know, you're not really American. You're not really American. You've hung out too much with the, you know, with the Latin American artists. And who is David Madala, by the way, you know? And the Latin American artists, they can't claim me because I'm North American, and you know I'm here only on good behavior. You know that, you know. So I sort of fell. I'm not British, you know. I was a Yank, you know. I was a Yank in Britain, you know, and so I didn't fulfill the instant categories that come into it. Happily now, people are more broad in their acceptance of it, you know. And I think that there is just the and also Lidge's work was not well known. I mean, you have to understand that, you know, if I would say to the American curator, oh, Lidge Clark, David Madala, Elio Tisica, never heard of them. Never heard of them and all that, you know. And I talk to Latin American artists, say Lidge Clark, oh yeah, Lidge Clark and all that, you know. And then I say, oh yeah, you know, I knew her in Paris. Oh no, you didn't. Yeah, but we did. That's just the truth and all that. So it's actually, and by the way, it doesn't do any good to wait to be invited to a party that you're not invited to. All right, it's better to go enjoy yourself and make new artworks and find new outlets for your work. And I've been very lucky in finding astonishing outlets for my work that have just helped keep it buoyant for all these years.
Thank you, John. We do have to have a quick changeover of equipment for the next talk. So I wonder whether if people want to ask questions, they can come to the stand.
Yes, we'll be over at stand D19. I know that this has been a rather quick talk. Sometimes when I give this talk, it's two hours long, so we've actually abbreviated it. I'm sure if you have questions or if you want to discuss anything I brought up, please join us over at Jane England's stand at D19. David, I hope you'll be there as well, so we can answer some questions together.
Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great. Okay. Well, will you join me in thanking John for a really illuminating talk?
Thank you all. Thank you very much.